African swine fever is becoming a cause for concern in Germany as new cases break out in neighbouring Poland and the Czech Republic. They're just 2 of 6 EU countries to be affected. Experts say the spread is being accelerated, among other things, by the collection of food scraps from motorway service stations. While not harmful to humans, the disease is almost always fatal for pigs and wild boar, and there's currently no vaccine against it. Animal health research body the Friedrich Loeffler Institute has labelled the situation alarming.
A quarter of a billion years ago, long before dinosaurs or mammals evolved, global warming triggered by huge volcanic eruptions in Siberia wiped out 96% of the world's species. How this affected life on land for the 4% that survived the Great Dying has been uncertain until now. New research from the University of Bristol has shown how early reptiles were expelled from the tropics.
They went into the temperate areas, and we were able to show that they went back and forwards a few times as different phases of warming were happening during the crisis period. So the crisis actually strung out over something like 5 million years, and there were a number of repeated warming events.
Life on Earth took a while to recover and diversify, possibly up to 10 million years. However, it opened up some evolutionary opportunities, including the first dinosaurs. By digging deeper into the exact consequences of rapid global warming, the study provides some information that could be useful in the present day.
The kinds of processes that were going on at that time, 250 million years ago, in terms of global warming and acid rain, ocean acidification, these are familiar to us today. They were on a much bigger scale at that time. But these kinds of things can happen repeatedly on the Earth. And so we need to understand what's the impact on life.
So whilst it's clear that life in some form eventually recovers, it's likely to take a very long time, longer than humans have been on the Earth.
The number of people thought to have died in California's destructive mudslides has been put at 17, with at least a dozen more still missing. Over 100 homes have been destroyed and around 300 damaged after walls of mud poured through affluent communities along a stretch of Southern California coastline.
Our coroner's office and our forensic unit are working around the clock to make careful identifications, to be absolutely positive that we make the right identifications, and to work with and notify the next of kin. At this time, we are not ready to release the names of the victims or identifying information, but anticipate that we will be doing that in the near future.
Volunteers are combing wreckage for victims. More than 50 people have been rescued, but many places remain inaccessible. The US Coast Guard is sending in vessels to help with evacuations.
2 people have died and several more have been injured in Pakistan after police fired live rounds at a group of protesters. Police say the protests, at first peaceful, turned violent and they had no choice but to fire to disperse the crowds. People have been protesting after the rape and murder of a young girl in the city of Kasur. 7-year-old Zainab Ansari was found in a rubbish dump. The protesters say the police are not taking the case seriously. This is the 12th case of a young girl being abducted and killed in the area within a year. Police say they've arrested several people in connection with the attack.
A thirsty Russian in Murmansk objected to the fact he couldn't get into a closed store to buy more booze, so he stole an armoured troop transport from a training camp and used it to ram raid the local supermarket, damaging some cars in the process. Police who arrested the man said he was probably drunk.
What will the EU's budget look like for the next financial period? That's post-Brexit. When the UK leaves, a hole of between 12 and 15 billion euros a year will have to be plugged. So, what's the plan?
Alle Programme gewisse Kürzungen akzeptieren müssen. Auch die beiden großen Programme, Kohäsion und Agrarpolitik sowie ländlicher Raum.
The EU can only spend a budget of up to 1% of the bloc's gross national income. Scrapping the cap means more money in the pot. It also means net contributors will have to shell out more. Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker said 1% is the price of coffee for the taxpayer.
Europa ist mehr wert als eine Tasse Kaffee pro Tag.
There will be cuts across the board, including agricultural subsidies, which get around 40% of the EU's budget. France, a farming heavyweight and traditionally tough opponent on this subject, has signaled that it may be open to compromise. New priorities like migration, defense and border control will get an earmarked budget rather than ad hoc money taken from other areas. 2 programs will be exempted from any cuts: Erasmus+, the student exchange program, and Horizon Post-2020 focused on research. The rebate involves a complex calculation based on the premise that countries like the UK, Germany, Austria and Denmark make large contributions without getting much back. Oettinger wants this scrapped. It's straightforward: taxing the use of plastics. How much would that cost consumers? Would there be exemptions? That's all up for discussion. Companies that use less than their emissions quota can sell these carbon credits via the emissions trading system, or ETS. Income from that currently goes to the national budget. Oettinger wants it to go to the EU budget.
Armed thieves broke into a jewellery shop at the luxury Ritz Hotel in Paris on Wednesday and stole goods with an estimated value of €4.5 million. It happened around 6 o'clock in the evening. 3 suspects were quickly arrested near the Place Vendôme in central Paris, but at least 2 others got away, according to a police official. No one was hurt. The 5-star Ritz is located in Paris's historical First District on the right bank of the River Seine. The Ministry of Justice lies just next door.
The world's oceans are currently under threat from millions of tons of plastic waste, but within this rubbish lies a virtually invisible threat. 51 trillion microbeads are currently in our oceans and being ingested by marine life. Now a UK-wide ban on products with the beads has come into force. Found in hundreds of different products such as face washes, toothpaste and shower gels, the ban has been welcomed by campaigners and cosmetic companies who already use natural alternatives which break down in the oceans. Although manufacturing of the beads has been banned, they will not be removed from shop shelves until July. And pressure is now mounting for a ban in the UK on plastic bottles.
There's been another night of violence in Tunisia as demonstrators defied a security clampdown threat. 1 person has been killed and scores arrested since the unrest began at the weekend. Anger over rising prices and tax hikes have fueled the protests. Many in the country are also disappointed at the lack of progress since the country emerged as the only democratic success after the 2011 Arab Spring. A series of governments have failed to deal with growing economic problems.
Televidente, permitinos com espaço comercial. Ora não sabe, é notícia ng Deportivo com o colega Carl Reuter.